Hi guys, welcome to this FSiPanel video. My name is Jean-Pierre. I will show you today a very special and challenging approach. It's been requested as well on the forum, so I will try it now with you. It's for Queenstown, New Zealand, as you can see. It is an RNAV approach runway 23, RNAV Yankee runway 23. So we'll operate this approach on the Boeing 777 from PMDG. As the runway is a little bit tight for this airplane, we will pretend that we are doing a show, so we'll be coming for this approach. And on very short final, like 300 feet or 200 feet, we will proceed on the go-around with an engine failure, proceeding here on the go-around, and then we will divert to another airport to land single engine. So the whole procedure is not in the database, unfortunately, for this very nice approach. So I have created a modified file for your PMDG nav database. So if you're interested, I will put the link in the YouTube video in the descriptions, and you can just backup first your star file and then replace with the new one, and you will have the RNAV Yankee 23 if you want to try this very nice approach in Queenstown, New Zealand. We'll be using the ORBX scenery, which is very nice here with all the mountains, and here we will see the lake. Everything will be nice. We'll have a look. We will use the actual weather. So to use the actual weather, as there is no METAR, I will be using ActiveSky Next with FSiPanel. So if you don't have a weather, what you need to do, you need to create a flight plan here. Before you use FSiPanel, you create a flight plan here. This is the two airports we'll be using. The destination, it is important that this is the airport that you will select in FSiPanel. And then I put a departure. This is where we're gonna divert, so that we also have a weather here. Cruising altitude 18,000, doesn't really matter. And then we just use the direct GPS. And then if I go to my briefing, I will have the weather for our scenario. You can see here this will be our diversion, where we will have an overcast at 1,300 feet, 11 degrees, 1020, and this is where we will fly our first approach in November Zulu Kilo November, Quebec November, sorry. And here we have as well a little bit of weather. If you don't do that, FSiPanel will not see any weather, and you might have problem trimming the aircraft. So this is a little trick which is new as well on the version 66. So now that we have done this, we can go ahead and prepare FSiPanel for this scenario. Alright, so we'll bring FSiPanel in view. We'll be using the PMDG 777 here. So the airport we want to fly out for this approach is Queenstown. It's 1,171 feet elevation in New Zealand. Now, as I've created a flight plan with ActiveSky Next, as you can see, we have the weather here that we're expecting for this scenario. So visibility will be nice. We'll have a little bit of cloud sailing, 10 degrees, and 1019 will be our QNH. Now we'll be landing on runway 23, and for the fix, we'll be going for a star. So let's have a look again on this chart here. This is what we want to do. So we will start here. The idea is to start over at kill, initial approach fix at 10,000 feet. So we don't really need a star, this is already the approach. So I will select any star, and then I will select at kill with the inbound track 233, and we'll position the aircraft somewhere here, 5 miles before at kill at 10,000 feet, and then we'll fly this RNAV transition, being careful with the steps here, down to LARAV, which will be our final approach fix. And from LARAV, as you can see, we should have the river here to follow that will lead us to the runway. We have a more precise final approach fix to runway layout here. We'll be coming from LARAV at 3,300 feet, sorry, and then we'll be following this LNAV RNAV descent profile down to our runway. So let's see how we can program that on FSiPanel. So I will choose any star, and then we'll get the at kill point. This is the one we want. So at kill point 233, that's perfect for us. We said we'd like to be at 10,000 feet and 5 miles before the point. That's good for me, and we will freeze the position to give us the time to prepare the aircraft. Validate, we're already here, so I will move the aircraft. Nice, here we are. So QNH should be 1019, this is the case, and now FSiPanel will start its streaming phase. And in the meantime, we can start to program our FMS. So we'll bring it here in front of our view and see. I just let FSiPanel do his job, otherwise I will maybe interfere here, and it's not a good idea. Alright. We are at 10,000 feet, heading is 233, looks good. QNH is on 1019. FSiPanel is now trimming the aircraft. We should get control immediately. Alright, ready to take control. So as we choose to freeze the position, I can take control, so I will take control now. And as you can see, the aircraft is not moving, it is stationary, so we can now program everything we need. So we start with the MCDU here, the FMS, sorry. So we need to change the destination. So for that I will go on the alternate page, and here the airport Queenstown is not shown, probably because it's filtered to the runway length by the PMDG setup. So we'll just enter that, November, Zulu, Quebec, November, and we put it on the first line here, and then it is available. So now we select it, and we say we're going to divert to this airport. Execute. Now if I go to the departure arrival page, we have this RNAV Yankee 23. This is the new RNAV approach that I've created, which is available in the description of this YouTube video. So we select it, execute. Now if we go into legs page, we take the at kill points, which is the one we wanted, put it on top, 10,000 feet or above. This is what we wanted. Execute. So you can see now that we have our nice at kill point, which is 5 miles exactly ahead of us on the 233 track, and then we'll have our approach here with LARAV for the runway 23 and then the go around path. So now we have programmed the route. Let's go to VNAV and have a look here. Descent, we already have 230 knots, so why don't we keep 230 knots for this descent? Execute. Anything else we need to do here? Everything looks good. And we will go to the NAVRAD. You see here we have a manual ILS setting, which is done by FSiPanel when we practice ILS approaches. This is not required, or sometimes your ILS might not be set correctly, so what we do here, we just delete this manual ILS setting, and it is now parked as our approach doesn't have any ILS. So now we'll be ready to fly this. We just need to set our minimum. So let's have a look at our chart again here. Looking at the chart for the minimum, we can see here that it depends on the RNP and the category. So we are here, and it depends on the category RNP that we have. So how can we check that on the 777? Good questions. Let's have a look on the MCDU here. If we go to the progress page, we have 4 pages. If I go to the page number 4 here, we have the RNP, which is 100 is the minimum for the arrival, and we actually have 0.06. So this is our actual performance, 0.06. So if I take the chart again here, 0.06. So we could use the best, the lowest minimum here, But as a training scenario, what I will do, I will use the worst one, the AIP 030. So 2229, we will set 2229 as a minimum. And we need 5.6 kilometers. So that's fine. Today we have 10 kilometers, sorry, and we will put 2229. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, the minimum is Barrow, and we want 2229. This is always the difficult part, I think, because it takes forever to set the minimum. If anybody finds a way to do it quicker, please let me know. I'll be very interested to know how to do it. So 2229, now it's getting fast. Right. 22, ooh, too much. Let's go back on the other side. Almost there. 2229, here we go. So now we are ready to take over control. Let's have a look at the aircraft itself. There is no caution, no warning. Let's do a recall here. Anything? Nothing is there. So we will take control of the aircraft by hitting the brakes. So I will then release my position. So I hit the brakes and the aircraft start to move. I will arm the LNAV and I will arm VNAV. And now we have LNAV and VNAV captured. So we start to move. Let's have a little look outside. We can see a little bit of this scenario already. You see a lot of mountainous area here. We will see later how beautiful this scenery is and how this approach is very interesting and challenging. Right, so now we can tell our RNAV that we want to descend. So if I look at my chart, the next step for the descent will be to descend down to our final approach fix LARAV at 3,300 feet. So we'll set here 3,300 feet. And the aircraft start its descent now to catch up with our VNAV path. And we can see here we are 600 feet too high. So the aircraft is starting to catch up to be on par. Here we go. We reverted to VNAV path. So now the aircraft will maintain the path. And for the time being, we'll maintain 230 knots. So the approach is quite short. I will start to reduce the speed. So we go with flaps 1. We take control of the speed and we'll bug 1 immediately. Better to bring the aircraft speed down to at least 200 knots or 180 knots, because this approach is fast and then you might be unstabilized on short final, which is not a very nice idea there. So we'll go to flaps 5 now and we'll bug 5, which is 180 knots, perfect for us. One thing I forgot to do here is to select engine failure, so we'll do that quickly now. So I will go on failure. I want to fade engine number 2, let's say, and I want to fade it at the altitude. I want to fail it when we pass 1,400 feet. The airport is at 1,171 feet, so let's say when we have 1,400 feet, we're going to have the engine failure. So in descent, so I have to push minus, and then 1,400 feet, enter. Engine fail when reaching 1,400 feet, execute. That's it. Now we are ready. We know that we're going to have a nice engine failure. And we continue now our descent. See this mountainous area, very beautiful. Here we are doing a nice idle descent. Aircraft is on idle. We have flaps 5, the speed is okay, so we don't need to add any drag right now, just keep it there. We still have the speed brake if we need to reduce the speed a little bit more. I will put that a little bit bigger for you now to see the descent profile is very nicely done by the 777. And we go in the middle of the mountain. One thing I will do is I will remove the terrain. I will push the terrain override here. The reason is we don't want to have any disturbance with terrain pull up that we'll have on this approach. If you want to try it home, you will see that you will have it all the time. It's normal because it's close to the mountains. Alright, so now we'll start to reduce a bit more the speed. I will go to flaps 1.5. This is the most flap setting we can have without the gear down. So flaps 1.5, and we keep the speed to 180 knots. You see now the scenery is beautiful. Let's have a look from outside. So we are turning now into these valleys here. We'll be following here to land over there behind. So now we will turn here to the right. You see, beautiful. RNAV is our initial approach fix. You see the point coming here already. So the idea is to be fully configured when we reach RNAV to start our RNAV approach. So we go ahead with the gear down. Flaps 20, wheel bug 160 knots, which is the flaps 20 speed. Let's see what is our VRF. 140, so 145 will be our reapproach. Flaps 30. Speed 145. Set. Speed brake is arm. And we are approaching our descent 3300, so now we'll set our 1200 to let the aircraft continue its descent here. Alright, let's see outside a little bit. Now we are starting our descent. Let me show you the scenery from outside. You see the river that we had on our approach charts. The runway is over there. So we really have to be precise here when we are flying. Now the aircraft is turning, following the river. And we should have our engine failure at 1,400 feet. So we'll get ready for the missed approach. So we'll set the missed approach altitude initially 11,000 feet. 11,000 feet initially set. Landing checklist is completed. We are clear to land, and we know that we will not land. We will practice single engine go around.
Approaching minimums.
Approaching minimum. Visual, we continue.
Minimums.
Landing.
1,000.
We are stabilized. See, the puppy is coming nice. We could land here. If you want to land, go ahead and land, but you might have trouble to get out of the runway with your 777. Now let's get ready for the engine fail. We will see number 2 should fail at 1,400 feet, so we'll be pretty close to the ground.
400. 300.
Now we have the engine failure. Go around, toga. Immediately we go flaps 20.
200.
Now you wait for the positive rate, gear up. feet, we have already RNAV, perfect. So you see the scenery here, I'll show you from up. Beautiful. This is our go around. Beautiful.
Too low, gear. Too low, gear.
And the aircraft will turn around this little mountain to go in the valleys. So now we will wait for our acceleration altitude, which is 1,000 feet. So we wait for 1,000 feet radio altimeter here. 1,000 feet, so we'll start to accelerate now to hub speed. So we put the speed.
Gear.
We put the speed
Too low,
at
gear.
around 210 initially,
Gear.
and we follow the RNAV go around over the mountain. You see the mountains everywhere here. Alright, now the 777 is pitching down to catch up the speed. Once we are past the 20 bug here, we can retract our flaps to flaps 5, providing we have a positive vector. Here we are, so we go flaps 5 now. It's really nice, this area. This is where we've been just around here, the airport over there, turning around here. And now we're just following the river, climbing 11,000. We pass flaps 1, so we can go now to bug 1 and flaps up. And now we set the bug to up, and the aircraft will climb with up speed. Here we are, climbing now. Flaps are up. We can go to continuous power. And now we take care of a problem. So what do we have here? We have an engine fail, right engine fail, and it's confirmed here, so we'll go for the checklist. So let's see what we have. We have a right engine failure. Condition, engine speed is below idle. This is the case, we can see it here. Objective to restart the engine if needed, so we will not do it. We will not restart the engine on this training scenario. Thrust is lost on both engine. No. Right auto throttle arm switch confirm off. Okay, the right auto throttle off. Right thrust lever confirm idle. So the right thrust levers, it's a little bit bumpy here. We put it to idle. Come on. It's a little bit bumpy, so it doesn't really want to go to idle. Here we go, come on. Here we go, almost. Alright, it's confirm idle here. Then right fuel control switch confirm cutoff. So confirm right switch, confirm. We go fuel off. Here we go, continue the checklist. The QRH, a restart may be attended. Restart, no, we don't want to do that. So let's continue here. Inhibit checklist auto thrust right, because we did it by ourselves, so we have to remember we're not doing this checklist. Both engine run normally, no. Transponder mode selector TA only, alright, so we'll go here to TA only. Plan to land at the nearest suitable airport, okay. Landing use it flaps 20, yes, we'll do that. So ground proximity flaps override switch to override, so we want the ground flaps override here. Override, and our terrain we don't need it anymore, so I will put it back on for the terrain. 1000 to go for the altitude, and note use flaps 30, no, landing using flaps 30 performance, and we use flaps 20 VRF 20 for landing. Good. Now we have the fuel unbalance to take care of it. So fuel unbalance, there is a fuel unbalance. If an engine has low fuel and unbalanced indication, the fuel unbalance message may due to an engine malfunction instead of a fuel leak, which is the case for us. So let's continue there and see. The fuel unbalance may be caused by the engine fuel leak. We know it's not a fuel leak. It's because of condition. Fuel leak is suspected, no. Fuel crossfeed, switch either on. Alright. Let's have a look there. Fuel crossfeed either. So we'll put on. Left main tank quantity is low. That's the case here. We can see here. Oh, what am I? Where am I here? Yeah. We can see 7.7. Left is low. So yes. Left fuel pump forward and aft off. Okay. Let's do that. Left forward and half pump off. Done. Right main tank, no. And fuel balancing is complete, so right now it's not complete, so we'll just let it go like this. Alright, let's have a look at our cockpit now. We are joining the hold, 11,000. We could climb to 15,000 now because we passed the point. So we have the engine shutdown, FMC message, fuel pump left aft, auto throttle and fuel unbalance. So I will cancel. Alright guys, now we know I've done everything. So we have to prepare our diversions. Now we will use FSiPanel to do that. So let's have a look. We said we would like to divert to November Zulu Sierra Charlie Hotel. I will show you the chart here while the 777 is entering the hold. So this is where we will divert, November Zulu Sierra Charlie Hotel in Christchurch, New Zealand. And the runway here is good for us. We have a 3,288 meters times 45 with a PAPI 3 degrees. The weather we saw before was nice. And we will be coming from ODZ, or let's put this point Divzu. Divzu, we should be at 2,000 feet. It's 8 miles final, and then we'll start our descent at 5.9 miles on a 3 degrees descent down to category 1 ILS 330 for the landing. So let's prepare that with FSiPanel using the slew mode option. Alright, I bring FSiPanel. I will just make sure the 777 is not turning, so for that what you do, we just go heading hold. Okay, now we are ready for that. So we want to divert to November Zulu Charlie Hotel. Runway 20. We can see here QNH local is 1020. We'll select a star. Let's put any star. We just want this point Divsu, so it takes Divsu. Perfect. Now let's see the heading. What did we say for the heading? We need to be established on the heading 197 inbound to Divsu. 2,000 feet would be nice. So Divsu 197. So we want 197. Enter, and 2,000 feet as a reference. FSiPanel will not change it. I just put it as a reference. Offset 5 miles before. That's good for us, and we will freeze again the position. Validate. Now I will use the slew aircraft option here. Slew aircraft. Let's see what happened. You see now that our aircraft has been slewed to this new airport, which is right there. We are very high because we are 11,000 feet and we are just 5 miles before this Diffsu point. Doesn't matter because the aircraft will be stationary. So what I will do, I will take control. So what I have to do, heading hold, we are in heading hold, so the aircraft will maintain the actual heading. I will just synchronize it here, 197, and let's give it a try. I will take the pause out, take control, the aircraft is maintaining 11,000 in heading hold, and we should be stationary. So we're gonna heading select 197. And we keep it here now. You see the airport still in front. Exactly here, this is where we want to land. QNH is 1020, so I will set now the QNH to 1020. 1020. And now we'll prepare our MCDU for the landing. So again, we need to divert. So it's gonna be an alternate. We wanna go to November Zulu Charlie Hotel here. Divert now, execute. If I go to my right page, ILS 20, execute, and I will go direct to Diffsu, which should be normally exactly 5 miles in front of us. We see here 5 miles, perfect, so in front of us, and we should be at 2,000 feet, so we're a bit high, but we are stationary, so it's not a problem. We'll descend while FSiPanel maintain the aircraft position. So we'll use here my speed, flaps 20, remember, flaps 20, 157, so we need to have 157 for the approach. Alright, we just need to set our minimum, so I will start my descent now to 2,000 feet. Using the freeze feature of FSiPanel, I will set 2,000 feet and let's go and descend. Vertical speed 2,500 feet per minute. And now we descend, but the aircraft stays stationary, so we have time to look if everything is ready for this approach. So we need to set our minimum. So let's bring the chart here again while the aircraft is descending. So this airport, Christchurch, we will do an ILS 20. Inbound track is 197. We are descending to 2,000 feet. We'll start our approach at Diffsu, maximum speed 170 knots. Then at 5.9 miles, we'll start our descent on a 3 degrees glide. We will check at 5 miles that we're at 1,700 feet. And then we'll continue our descent to our minimum, which is 330 feet. If we have the runway, we'll be landing. Runway is 3,288 meters times 45. Papi 3 degrees. I will use auto brake high. And should we go around, climb on 197 straight ahead to Idubu, climbing to 3,000. So 3,000 will be our missed approach altitude. Alright, so we need to set our minimum, 330. Alright, so we are approaching 2,000 feet. I will set now my minimum. I was on the way to do that to 330. 3. Hold on. Right. 3. 30. Yeah, 34 almost. Oh, yeah. 330. Here we go. Alright, fuel and balance. How are we doing now? 7.6, 8.8, so we'll leave it a little bit. I said we will go with the auto brake to max as we have high speed. So briefing is done, minimum is set, checklist. We'll complete the checklist by turning off the crossfeed and we'll be coming for the approach. So we are still 5 miles to Diffsu. Descending to 2,000 feet, we are below glide, so we'll be able to take control already. I will do that now. So let's see if our FMS, everything looks good. Yes. Alright, so take control. I hold my brake. Now we start to fly. So we can harm the approach already. Approach is armed. Localizer is captured already, and we don't need to go down anymore. So I will maintain 3,000 feet. As we are below glide, as you can see. Altitude captured 3000 feet. Now we're just coming for landing here. Single engine. So let's start to configure airplane. Flaps 1. Bug 1. Glide slope is already coming. Flaps 5. Bug 5. Glide slope is captured. Missed approach altitude 3000 feet is set. Gear down. Flaps 20. Speed V approach. Set. And now we'll just complete the checklist with the fuel and balance. We close the fuel and balance.
2500.
So we'll pump the pumps back on, the crossfeed off. And let's see to the normal checklist. We want to go now for the landing checklist. Landing checklist is completed. Now we need to be stabilized by 1000 feet. So the speed is coming nicely. And here we go. 5 miles. We said we need to check our altitude at 5 miles. So at 5 miles we should be at 1700 feet. Let's see that. 5.2 miles. 5 miles. We are at 40 low, which is good. Other marker confirm. Minimum is 330 feet set, and we have our missed approach altitude set. Little bit of tailwind, 7 knots. Okay, it's within limit. And now we are visual on the runway. That's the cabin secured. Yes, cabin is secured.
1000.
Stabilize. Little bit bumpy. Alright, I will go manual thrust, practice a little bit.
Approaching 20.
Oh, we have a Mooney here. I hope he's not interfering, because otherwise we'll have to do a go around again. Now he's climbing, fine. Approaching minimum. Autopilot off.
Minimums.
Landing.
One hundred. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Reverse. $80 knots out of reverse, manual braking. And here we are. That was a quick training scenario. I used the ORBX scenery for Queenstown, beautiful scenery, and then a single engine landing. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please try it yourself and put any question or comment down on this video. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Thanks a lot guys.